A dramatic and dangerous escalation is unfolding across the Middle East as Iran intensifies its military campaign against Israel while simultaneously expanding pressure on American military assets in the region. What initially appeared to be a cycle of retaliation has now evolved into a sustained high-intensity conflict with widening geographic scope and increasing risks for civilians. Over recent days, multiple waves of Iranian ballistic missiles have been launched toward Israeli territory, marking one of the most intense phases of the war that began in late February 2026. Air raid sirens have repeatedly sounded across central and northern Israel, forcing civilians into shelters as incoming projectiles triggered emergency alerts. Daily life has been severely disrupted, with schools closed, public gatherings restricted, and communities operating under constant threat. Israeli air defense systems, including Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow, have intercepted a large portion of incoming missiles. However, recent incidents have underscored the limits of even the most advanced systems. Despite maintaining a high interception rate, some missiles have penetrated defenses and struck near populated or sensitive areas, exposing vulnerabilities and raising alarm among both officials and civilians. In one recent case, a missile landed near critical infrastructure, including energy facilities, sparking immediate concern over the potential targeting of essential services. While no casualties or major damage were confirmed in that instance, the psychological impact was significant. Emergency responders were dispatched to multiple locations where missile fragments fell following interceptions, highlighting how even partially neutralized attacks can create widespread disruption. Experts caution that missile defense systems are inherently imperfect. Even a small number of successful strikes can have outsized consequences, particularly when combined with new tactics such as coordinated drone swarms or cluster munitions. These evolving methods are designed to overwhelm interception systems and increase the probability of impact. A particularly alarming development is the shift in Iran's messaging and targeting posture. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has signaled that Israeli civilian shelters, long regarded as protected safe zones, may now be considered legitimate targets under certain conditions. This represents a major escalation in the conflict's rules of engagement. Iranian statements indicate that intelligence units claim to possess detailed information about shelter locations, including structural layouts and coordinates. The implication is stark. Areas that once symbolized safety may no longer offer guaranteed protection if hostilities intensify further. At the same time, Iran has expanded its strategic narrative, framing its campaign as part of a broader operation and invoking international legal justifications. Officials have cited Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, presenting their actions as self-defense in response to earlier strikes by Israel and the United States. However, the widening scope of targets, especially those near or within civilian areas, has raised serious concerns among international observers about the humanitarian implications. Missile strikes have reached deep into Israeli territory, including major urban centers. Cities such as Tel Aviv and surrounding regions have experienced direct impacts or nearby explosions, with some attacks causing casualties and structural damage. Earlier in the conflict, missiles equipped with cluster munitions struck multiple locations, resulting in deaths and injuries among civilians and workers caught outdoors. These developments have intensified fears among Israeli civilians, who now face not only the threat of direct strikes, but also falling debris from intercepted missiles. In several instances, fragments have landed in sensitive locations, including historic and religious sites, illustrating how widespread the effects of each barrage can be. The conflict has also expanded beyond Israel's borders, drawing in American forces and installations across the region. Iran has launched attacks on U.S. military bases in countries including Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain, signaling a broader confrontation that extends well beyond a bilateral conflict. In one particularly notable claim, Iran stated that it had targeted a U.S. aircraft carrier with missile strikes, although the extent and effectiveness of such an attack remain disputed. This expansion marks a transition from a localized conflict to a multi-front war involving multiple actors and theaters. Israeli and U.S. forces have continued their own operations, conducting extensive strikes on Iranian military infrastructure, including missile launch sites, command centers, and production facilities. According to Israeli assessments, a significant portion of Iran's military capabilities has already been degraded, though Tehran retains enough capacity to sustain ongoing attacks. The result is a rapidly evolving battlefield where escalation is no longer gradual but accelerating. Both sides are increasingly willing to strike deeper, hit harder, and expand the range of targets, raising the stakes with each passing day. The conflict is also having far-reaching economic consequences. Attacks on energy infrastructure and disruptions near key maritime routes, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, have sent shockwaves through global markets. Oil prices have surged, supply chains have been strained, and concerns about a broader economic downturn are growing. In parallel with military escalation, diplomatic efforts have struggled to gain traction. The United States has proposed a comprehensive plan aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear and missile programs in exchange for sanctions relief and other concessions. However, Tehran has rejected the proposal, describing it as unrealistic and unacceptable. Mediation efforts involving regional and international actors continue, but so far they have failed to produce a breakthrough. Deep mistrust, competing demands, and ongoing military actions have made negotiations extremely difficult. Alongside these developments, rhetoric from Iranian leadership has grown increasingly confrontational, particularly toward the United States. The language used reflects a broader shift from deterrence to defiance, with officials framing the conflict as a decisive and ideological struggle rather than a temporary confrontation. One of the most striking warnings delivered by a senior Iranian commander captured this tone clearly. He said, "Don't you dare call your defeat an agreement." He further emphasized the breakdown of diplomatic trust, stating the time for your empty promises is now completely over. These statements underscore the hardened positions on all sides and suggest that compromise may be increasingly difficult to achieve in the near term. The conflict has now entered a phase defined not only by the scale of military operations, but by the erosion of traditional boundaries. Civilian areas, critical infrastructure, and previously protected zones are increasingly drawn into the line of fire. Each new development adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. With repeated missile strikes, expanding targets, and escalating rhetoric, there is little indication that the situation will stabilize soon. Iran has signaled that additional waves of attacks are already planned, while Israel has vowed to continue its operations. The United States, meanwhile, is reinforcing its military presence in the region, preparing for the possibility of further escalation. What is unfolding is no longer a contained conflict. It is a rapidly expanding confrontation with regional and global implications, one that continues to evolve with each passing day and whose ultimate trajectory remains uncertain.